Good afternoon, and welcome to our last webinar for the year, or last intrusion webinar, I should say. SPC Connect Advanced Programming Functions. My name is Jeff Rushton, and I'll be your presenter for today. I should make a couple of apologies before we start. I'm located in Sydney, and it is absolutely pouring with rain, so any background noise that you hear will probably be that. Also, just in case, I think I should mention it now, if we do get disconnected at any course during the next half hour or so, it's more likely that I've lost power or lost internet. If that's happened, and I don't think it will, but if it does, I will send you a link to where the webinar will be located after it's recorded. So with that, let's get started. For those who haven't joined us before, I'll just run through a couple of main points so you can become familiar with. If you have any questions, please type them here and hit the send button. I'll attempt to answer them if time permits, or email you the answer after the webinar if we do run out of time. If there's any handouts, and there are some, they will be available down here, and you can download those at any time by clicking on them. So this is a follow-up from a webinar that we held 2 weeks ago on the SPC introduction, and we also held one last week on the SPC cloud services. So there'll be a couple of slides that will be familiar from both of those that we held previously, and lots of new content as well. So let's just quickly recap some of the main features. So SPC is a scalable, multi-language system with an embedded web server. It has many access control features and advanced security functions for banks and financial institutions. It also has inbuilt audio and video verification. The product also has an extensive software suite, and it talks to a secure cloud portal called SPC Connect. So SPC also has a number of third-party integrations to things like home automation, access control, and CCTV systems as well. So this overview highlights, I suppose, all of the various modules and software. And as I mentioned a little while ago, if you haven't already done so, download the brochures and the video from your GoToWebinar control panel in the handout section. So also, checking out the 2 previous SPC webinars would also allow a greater understanding of the system. And towards the end, I will provide links to both of those. So programming the system can be done in a variety of ways. Firstly, through the keypad. Just about every bit of programming can be done direct at the keypad or through any web browser on the same network as a panel with no need to install any software. Programming can also be performed by what's called the SPC Pro download software, or through any web browser anywhere in the world if you're using the SPC Connect Cloud Portal. So today's webinar is not really meant to be a technical programming section, but an overview of the main advanced features that SPC can offer. If you would like a more in-depth coverage of the features, get in contact with myself, and so we can make arrangements to get you hands-on with the panel and possibly arrange some technical training. Okay, so let's start with some of the more unique features. So firstly, policies. It's unlikely that, I suppose, anyone has seen policies in a security system before. Policies enable you to set up how the global control of your system works. You can see here that we have policies for quite a few system functions. Things like a policy for system, for timing, outputs, tamper, keypad, etc., etc. So if we have a look at just one of them, let's have a look at the alarm zone policy. You can see here for every zone type that we have in the system, we have the ability to selectively enable or disable, restore, inhibit, and isolate for all user types and for the installer. By setting the policies, we can then save the system as a template, and that can be used by all the other systems within the same organization. So this way you can ensure that all your systems have the same inherent functions and the user or the installer can't overwrite them once it's been set up. So SPC is truly a worldwide system. So we can see here the options for Australia, down the bottom here, and we can set it up according to our Australian standard AS2201. So this inbuilt template, as well as the startup wizard, enables you with a few button presses or keystrokes to customize your system for its intended purpose. You can also see here that we can set up whether it's a domestic, a commercial, or a financial panel. And by setting these options, it automatically enables or hides various functionality that is either required or not required. So as an example, if you selected domestic, the ability to add areas is removed from the list of options because it's unlikely that you'll be using areas within a residential application. I suppose while we talk about areas, and let's assume that we've selected financial mode from the previous screen, we can now set a bunch of options required for banks or financial institutions that in any other panel off the shelf that you would not be able to program these options without potentially the use of macros within their system. So let's just say for an area that we've defined as an ATM, that we can set a number of things up within that area. So things like automatic seismic testing, auto rearm, delayed unset, interlock groups, unset duration, and also dual pin. One of the key verification features is the ability to transmit and store audio on alarm. So audio is recorded either from a keypad with the audio option, i.e. that it's got an inbuilt mic, or from a wall-mounted microphone speaker unit. So here we can see that we can set the pre and post recording times for audio on alarm. I suppose to continue this theme as well, we can also enable up to 4 IP cameras to transmit and store video on alarm. So pretty much any IP camera that has an RT-SP stream should work. If you've got doubt, just ask your camera supplier and they'll be able to confirm the string that needs to go in for your RT-SP settings. So from this screen, we can add the IP address of the camera, I suppose the port, username, password. Then we select how many pre and post images we want to display for every alarm transmission on the system. So here we can see that this screen shows that we was capturing 8 pre images, 8 post, and they're done at 1 second intervals. Once we've added the cameras, we can then create what we call a verification zone. So this ties the camera and the microphone together. We can then associate the verification zone with things like a zone or a keypad, pretty much anything that we want to monitor. Another important thing is the communication path. That's pretty much critical in any component of an alarm system. With SPC, we have a number of paths to send signals from. So firstly, we have the inbuilt Ethernet port on the system. We can add an optional plug-in 3G modem, or if you really need to, there's an optional PSTN modem for legacy systems. So we can set up a maximum of 10 combinations of paths to meet pretty much any requirement. Each can be a single, a dual, or a backup path. And any combination of events can be configured to report through each of these. So we can see on this screen that one of them is the SPC Connect Cloud service, and it's set up on this page also. And you can also see that I've got one that says XT-COM dual path. So this is going back to a control room by 2 methods, one being the onboard Ethernet, and the backup path is the onboard 3G modem. So with each path, we can customize the class of communication. So from the table down the bottom here, we can see that depending on the level of security that we need to offer the customer, or the monitoring plan that we put the customer on, we can adjust the polling rate from 8 seconds out to 2 minutes. And we can have a polling timeout from 20 seconds right out to 30 days. Other functions of the panel, which may not necessarily be unique, but certainly are very easy to operate and very flexible, is the ability to upgrade the panel and peripheral firmware. We can do this via the web browser, or we can do it remotely with the SPC Connect service, and that can be done either manually or automatically. One of the more unique features, though, is that we can load a custom language file. That can be uploaded, and we can personalize any text in any menu option on the keypad. System backups also are extremely easy. So when you download to your PC, you can download to your PC via the download icon here, or we can save a backup directly on the panel. So this is a great option. Really, it's a great option to do before you do any programming changes. So if you screw up, you can restore the system directly from the backup that you made on the panel. You don't have to rely on a semi-good internet connection to ensure that it gets uploaded and restored correctly. This screen here also makes it very easy for you to export or import things like the user data, calendars, the language files that we spoke about. You can also upload and display a custom logo on the keypad from here as well. So selected keypads, and it'll be the ones that have the speakers in, are also fitted with, that are fitted with a microphone, are also fitted with a speaker. One of the uses, and there's many, but one of the uses for this is the keypad, so it can talk back to you for a variety of system functions. So we can customize the response by selecting both different voices and different pitches, and then either selecting pre-programmed text that is spoken, or we can write our own text, which is spoken. We also have the ability to upload our own recorded messages, and they can be used as prompts as well within the system. So when we talk about things like macros or the programming that's sort of a little bit different to your standard click and drop-down box selection, from here, from this set of menus, we can create custom functions such as triggers, mapping gates, and cause and effects tasks from this advanced configuration. So by adding triggers, we can flag just about any system operation, such as, and we'll have a quick look here. So we can add a condition. It can follow, that condition or that flag can follow any zone. It can also follow any output configuration that we have configured. It can follow a system function, like we've got here. It can follow any bunch of users or an individual user as well, whether it's through a PIN code, access code, web access, and everything that's listed there, or potentially, or not potentially, you can do it from a profile, a user profile as well. If we had an expander, there'll be expander options there, or from any communication aspect also. We can set a flag, operate an output, turn things on and off directly from this trigger menu. And lastly, I guess, from an advanced function, we've got the cloud portal, which is called SPC Connect. So what we can do from here is create a free system user account. So that's at spcconnect.com. And from here, this connects to our apps, and we can have our remote operation and control from the variety of apps that we have. In order to set that up though, we have to find the registration ID and a username and password within the system. That's pretty easy to do. We can do that from either the keypad or the browser. So if we're using the keypad, all we do is punch in our code for a valid user, scroll up to select SPC Connect, and then jot down this registration ID. And this is used to add a panel to our account. Then we need to add or select a system user. So we'll go up to users. And in this case, we'll add a user. The first available is user 6, we'll keep that. We can change the name. For our demo, we'll just leave it as user 6. What type of individual are they? They're going to be a manager in this case, so we'll select manager. And we can either select the PIN code that's provided to us or type in our own. Once we've done that and hit save, that's all that's required to connect the app or the SPC Connect service. So that's from the keypad. From the browser, just type the IP address of the panel. log on with our username and password. We'll start with a user. We'll go and add a user. First one came up was user number 6. We'll leave that name. We'll type in our 7777. We'll make them a manager and we'll save them. Just to confirm that we've entered that, we can click on users again, and that user 6 will be displayed there as a new user or as a new manager. Under status, Flex C, it will show us our registration ID. All we do is copy and paste that into our SPC Connect service, and we can add this panel to our login, and then we can use the app with the login that we created the SPC Connect service with, and then we have this advantage. So the apps are available for iOS, Android, and Windows 10. And the SPC app allows for full control of your system, including things like arm and disarm any area, isolate or de-isolate any zone, view the event or the access log, operate an output, or open or momentary open or lock down an access door, also to view any camera on the system, or the ability to have a two-way conversation with anyone at a keypad while you're viewing the associated camera. The app can also send through push notifications for alarms, troubles, opens and closes, and lots more. We can also add maps, so we can add a number of maps into the system, and we can add icons for any or all of the functions on the system. They're overlaid on the map, and we can control everything literally just from this screen. So let's just have a look at our iPad. Oops, too far. Let's go back. So we'll run the app. So SPC Connect. We'll connect to our demo system. So there's a list of all the panels we have on this system. We can select demo system from here. It will go and interrogate the panel and come back and show us the status of this system. So it's showing us the status of all of the areas. We can hit full set and it will go away and arm all of our areas. It will refresh and then come back in a couple of seconds and show us that every area on the system has been armed. And the color should change. From here, we can click on any area and we can unset that or disarm it if we want to. Or we can just click on the icon and we can arm or disarm an area from there as well. If we have got verification zones like we do down the bottom here, we can click on a verification zone. So we'll click on branch. It will show us the camera associated with that verification zone. And then if we click on the microphone button, it will allow us to talk to the keypad associated with that verification zone. By clicking on the speaker button, we can listen in from the microphone on that keypad to what's happening on that zone. If we move down to areas, we can do much the same as we did on this screen. We can view and arm and disarm any of the areas on the system. We can go down and view all of the zones on the system and see their state. We can click on it, we can isolate or inhibit, or we can view the log file of every zone. And this will show us every time that zone was opened and closed, even if the system was disarmed. If we had any doors, we could open and close doors from here and see the state of those. Unfortunately, we don't on this system. We have an output though, that we have one output that has been programmed as a user function. And from here, from your app, you can turn that output on. After it updates, it will come up with green, and then we can turn that output off. If we had added a map or more, we can click on the map list down the side, bring up a map of the system, and then drag any icon from the top and overlay it on the map. So from here we can see the state of all of our zones, and we can, like we did on the previous screens, arm and disarm an area. And like we did with a zone, click on it to isolate it or view the log file as well. If we click on a camera, give it a couple of seconds to load the first time, and we can see the camera, well, camera 4. If we look at any other camera now, they'll come up immediately. We can control any outputs from here also. So you can pretty much operate the entire system just on this map display. If we go across to the camera tab, we can look at each of our 4 cameras or view it in a quad screen. After that, we can view our log file. So everything that happened on the system. And if we had doors, we could view the access log as well for who opened what when. Beyond that, we've got a few features in terms of general settings that we can play with. We can select what type of devices that we want on our map. We can determine whether we want to have a PIN code, so when we start up the app we have to sign in. Or we can see the panels here, click on a panel, click Edit Notification, and now we can set up what push notifications from this panel that we want to receive. And you can see that there is a huge list of push notifications that we can send through to our mobile device. So as I said from the beginning of the demo, wait till this updates, that we can have multiple systems on our login. So we're just going to Alarm Corp Sydney now, and we can see the state of that system as well. So a very flexible app that has lots of nice features that is enabled through setting that 3 SPC Connect account. So in summary, we've seen that this panel has Australian standards inbuilt. It has company policies, so we can set up exactly how we want this system to work and then implement that through our entire range of panels. We can set up areas that are unique to financial institutions for an ATM, a vault, or a safe. That it has both audio and video verification features that it can send through to a control room or upload to the cloud service. We have multiple communication paths and many options in how we utilize those communication paths. Firmware upgrades are a given, but firmware upgrades can be done manually, or they can actually be done automatically from the cloud service. This system is a very easy system to back up or to import or export the information that's in there. Selected keypads do have voice enunciation and quite an annoying voice that can talk to you for system events. To further customize the panel, There are cause and effect macros that we can set up to do all sorts of weird and wonderful things that maybe potentially can't be done by the click or the drag and drop menus that are there. And a very easy app to use. To get further information, two areas to go. One is the Alarm Corp YouTube site. Let's just load that up. Just search for Alarm Corp and you'll come up with this page. Just about every video that we have is listed here. So what we want for SPC is Vanderbilt product videos and then SPC intrusion panel tutorials. We can see here that we have a list of 78 videos. So we can click on that. And we have videos from everything from setting up the system, to start up the system out of the box, to programming outputs, how the SPC Connect app works. These just go on and on and on. The vast majority of them are quite short, so much shorter than I've been going on today. So very easy to go through and see what you're after and then see a video in relation to that. Our webinars that we've done are also at the bottom of this screen, SPC Introduction and Cloud Solution. If we did go back a step, all of our webinars are also listed here separately. So all of our CCTV webinars, this was the one that was done last week, all of our intrusion webinars, the two SPC webinars that were done in the last couple of weeks, and others that go back for the last number of years. So a great resource for anywhere that you're looking for information that is presented to you, obviously in the form of a video. Failing that, the SPC Vanderbilt support page, when it loads, is the next best stop to find anything SPC related. So spcsupportinfo.com is the web page, and from here we can download the latest firmware, download the latest download package, download any of the manuals, any support information. This also does have a lot of the videos, the Vanderbilt videos, not our ones. We can also go down here, we can download a calculator that calculates the power requirements for the SPC panel. Online learning platform is something that I highly recommend that you do. Is from here you can start a free account and log on and then go through a bunch of training exercises that have a range of videos, a range of text, a range of information that you look at, listen to towards the end of each module. You get a short exam. Once you complete, X amount of modules, you receive a certificate to say that you are SPC certified. It's a very good tool to have learning on demand at any stage. So I'd highly recommend the spcsupportinfo.com webpage to get further information. If you don't like either of those two options, then talk to us. So you can go to our webpage, alarmcorp.com.au. From there, you can subscribe to our Alarm Corp Pulse newsletter. If you did register your details online for an online account, you then can see pricing, place orders, as well as see all of the technical information for all of our products. Without logging on, you'll only get sales information, so data sheets and brochures, but signing on, you'll get install manuals, operating manuals, software, everything else that goes with the panels. So if you certainly wanted more information, you can contact myself or Richard Bell. For the wet states like New South Wales, ACT, and the hot states like Queensland, or contact Chris down south and South Australia and WA for further information. Alarm Corp is very active on social media sites, so with Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, as you've seen, Flipboard and Instagram. You click on any of those, search for Alarm Corp, you'll be able to like or follow us and then get a range of information that you won't get through our email blasts. So another good resource to keep in of a way that we can keep in contact with you. Here's a list, and it's a very short list now, of webinars for the remainder of the year. So these will be held over the next couple of Thursdays at 3 p.m. So the next one is next week on the CTEC Cayuga VMS. So Cayuga is a very versatile VMS platform that has a HLI, a high-level interface, into SPC. So with this system, we can have the areas, inputs, and outputs on a map, and we can control the cameras via the various SPC functions. So a very nice piece of software with a nice graphics functionality to it. So we would be very happy for you to join us on that one. So this is the end of the webinar, and it's, as I said, the last intrusion webinar for the year. Looks like we got through it without being disconnected or blacked out, so that's always positive. I certainly appreciate the time today because I understand how precious it is, and I hope you found it beneficial at some level. And certainly we look forward to presenting further webinars for you in the future, in the new year. So from now, it's goodbye, and enjoy the remainder of your day.